Learning Luminar Essentials is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. Let's see what we can accomplish in 15 minutes or less, starting now. Hello, everyone. All right, so our topic today is going to be how to really understand Luminar in 15 minutes or less. And keep in mind, it's for a crash course, somebody who's never opened up Luminar before. I want to explore some of these possibilities with you, and it also kind of serves as a reminder for all of you veterans out there who have been using Luminar since the creation. There may be a few things that you're spotting and say, oh, I forgot I used to do that. And I'm hoping that it brings some memories back. All right, so let me just dive right in first. And these are going to be the topics that we're going to talk about. I have two parts. So for the first 5, we'll start with add a folder to the catalog, start with the Enhance AI, and then we're going to add a second instance of Enhance AI. Then we'll talk about using the history, and then I'm going to talk about using mask selectively. All right? So that's going to be the first part. And let me show you right here. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to start with a brand new catalog just so people can see, how it would start. So I'm going to come in new, and where do we keep that catalog? We've talked about this so many times. I'm going to put it in a folder that I labeled __ Luminar catalog, just so I know it goes right to the top. You can put it in the pictures folder, wherever you want, but these are the ones here. Now, I did have a presentation, one that I've already created, so I'm going to duplicate that, all right, just so we can start from the beginning. And I'm going to come in, new folder, and let's just call it presentation version 2. All right, and now I'll double click. Now I'm in that folder. It's going to default to Luminar Neo catalog, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that. Presentation version 2, and where does it put it? Well, it's going to put it in that particular catalog for me. Now, this is what happens. It comes up, hey, there's no photos yet. We have to add the photos. There's 2 ways of doing this. You could either add the photos directly from here, or you can come over to the side where it says folders and click this plus icon and add it from there. And once I click it, it's going to give me the option. Do I want to add a single image or a folder of images? Well, I want a folder of images. And we've talked about this before too. Well, where do I store my images? I like having an _ photography, and here is where I have all of my subfolders of the images. Now, I'm not going to install, or I'm not going to import 200,000 images. I only want to bring selective images in. Now, I'm going to go out of this for a moment because I did move those images under presentation, and we'll go right here. Let's see. Luminar sample. I think it's this one right here. And actually, that's showing me that it was accessed today. So that's the one. So I'm going to bring this in, select, and we'll give it a moment to let it populate. And actually, you know what? Maybe that wasn't the one. Let's see. So let's do it again. Luminar. Let's do this one. Yep, that was the one. All right, so this one I don't need. I'll just right click, and I'm going to remove it from catalog. It's not deleting any of the images. It's just removing that from the catalog. So now that I have all of these images in, we have it all set. Well, what I want to do is this. I'm going to pick, let's see, one of my favorite images. Well, actually, you know what? Now that I showed you how I did this, right, I have another catalog where I have all of my images ready for you to see. So if I want to come in here, open most recent, I could pick from a different catalog that I already had. So I just showed you how to import your images into Luminar Neo or Luminar, and also make it to where you brought in a folder of images. Now what I want to do is I want to show you how we can work on the second part, which is start with Enhance AI. So this was one of the images I just started with. And what I want to do is this. I want to duplicate it. So I'm going to create a virtual copy. Now, when we do this, we're not duplicating the file itself. We're creating a reference on where that image is. Now, what I am going to do is this is before and after. This is what I did to edit this image. I'm going to come in and I'm going to revert it back to original. So this is the original image. And you know what? It moved it. There it is. It moved it out of there because I put it under recently edited. Well, it's no longer edited. So let's see if I can find it. I'm going to go Luminar here. Oh, there it is. Perfect. All right. So I'm ready to go. Now that I have the image here, let's start first with Enhance AI. Well, why Enhance AI? This right here is a real easy way to start, just to make your image look beautiful. It improves color, detail, tone, and depth. This tool is essentially the develop tool, but it's doing all the AI for you. Now watch, I'm going to close it. When I reopen it, notice it's set back to default. This gets people confused and they think that it didn't apply it. You're able to apply 2 instances, 3 instances, multiple instances of the tool. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to apply that tool again. Now, when I click on the edits, think of edits as your history. Well, I'm going to click on edits and look at this. It shows me both instances of the Enhance AI. When I click on the bottom one, the top one is not being applied. So when you move up the ladder here, it'll go from this all the way to the bottom. So here's that second instance, right? Well, what's neat about this, and we're going to get into the second part, is I'm using the history to help me edit this image. Well, I'm going to use the masking part now. So if I click on masking, there's different types of masking we can pick. I'm going to just select an object. And the object I want to select will be just the wood. Look what it did. It's showing me in ruby red what's being selected. Now, what that means is simple. The settings I applied with Enhance AI in the second instance is only being applied to what you see in red. So I can selectively apply that enhancement just to that part. So let's look at it. Adjustments. And look at this. It's only affecting that piece here. All right. So now that we did that, and you understand what the history does and how we can do masking, let's come over here to the tools and we'll go to the traditional develop tool. Now, a lot of times I just like to start with auto adjustment, let it figure out what it needs, and then I can always tweak all of this. But let's look at the difference. Here's the quick view. I'm going to show before and after. And by the way, this is what it looks like, the entire image from the beginning till now. This is just the tool. All right, so that looks good. But you know what? I do want to come in and I want to increase the black tones a little bit more, bump up the white. I like what it did here with the highlights and the shadows. I'm going to just adjust it just a little bit. Curves, it's entirely up to you. This is one of those tools that, yeah, you kind of got to know what you're doing with it. I sometimes just like to use it very, very slightly. And then here we are with color. Now, if this were a raw image, then I'd have more options here on the white balance. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as is. I can adjust the temperature. Now, watch this. I can make it cooler up right here or warmer. Well, I'm going to double click and put it back to 0. Right? And then let's just bump it up just a little bit. I like to bring the saturation down. Right about there. But then pump up the vibrancy. So saturation is the entire image. Vibrancy is the muted colors. Redundancy, your sharpen. I could also use details. Noise reduction, I could always use noise AI. But it's here just in case you want to use it. This is the part now, right here, the optics. Watch this. It's a little keystoning. Look at that. And in a moment, look what it just did. Look how it helped bring it towards or straighten it up a bit. Now I can do that a little bit more. And let's say that's too much. Right about there. Oh, yeah, I like that. So look at the difference. Before, after. So if you're dealing with the perspective is off, right here is where you can enhance it. So that's your develop tool. And again, you could decide, do I want to start with enhance AI first? Do I want to start develop? Normally, if it's a raw file, I like going with develop raw first and then go in and tweak with the enhancements. If it's a JPEG, then I usually like going with enhance AI first. That's entirely up to you. You got different options. And you saw there was color in develop. There's also color here. You saw there was sharpening or details. Here's details. So it's the tools were added in case you just wanted to stay in that module. All right. So now that we did that, we did moving through the development tool. Now what I want to do is this. And actually, I just realized something. I jumped ahead. So there we are. We're going to move to the development tool, which I just showed you. Then we're going to work on the explore, the specialized tools. Then we're going to work on batch processing. I want to show you how to export to your computer and then also how to publish it to Spaces. All right. So we already did the development. Now let's look at some of the specialty tools. But before I do that, I am going to come in here and show you something with the erase tool. This is the traditional erase. It's using proximity. Let's just get rid of this sign here. It's going to use the adjacent pixels around the image, and it's going to try to do its best to erase it and say, okay, well, what can we do to add to this? Right about there. What can I do to replace those pixels with the surrounding pixels? Now, notice I touched the lantern. Let's hit erase. And with traditional erase like this is a big project for that. And it did a good job. Now, notice right here, look at this. Before, after, right here. It kind of clipped it off. So I'm going to reselect it. This time I'll hit restore. And look what it did. All right. So, and I can go back in and I can just get really, really close to it and then just do it in sections. Let's say we did this, erase. See, and it's doing a better job and just keep doing it over and over. That's one option. However, let's revert this. All right. But the issue here, that's a complicated erase. So instead, I'm going to come over here to the extras, and a specialty tool we'll use is Gen Erase. So with Gen Erase, I'm going to come in, and I don't have to be as careful. Oh, let's get rid of that. Reset. I'm going to come in. There we go. And I'm going to just come in and just give it a general, look, you know what? This is what I want to get rid of. It's okay if I overlap it, erase, and if I don't like the results, I'll do it again. All right. So let's check it out. Here it is. And this is using, oh, look at that. Look how cool that did it. This is using the generative tools. All right. So let's look at before and after. Here's the original. And look what that did. That is absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to hit save. Now, once I save this, well, where did it put it? It put it in a new folder called Generative Creation. Where is it located? Well, if I right-click and I show in Explorer, it's going to come up and it's going to put it in the default Pictures folder. All right? Well, I don't want it there. So watch what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to take it, and since we are working on Luminar, where are we? The image is here. I created a complete folder. Well, I'm going to just drag and drop it into the complete folder. And now guess what I just did? I moved it from that generative creation folder that was in the pictures folder, and I just dragged and dropped it, and now it's in the complete folder. All right? Well, now that I have it, let's just continue with some of the editing to it. Well, I'm going to close out of the essential tools. And notice I just click on them here, and I can expand the different tools. For this here, let's go with Ooh, you know what? I love the mood tool. I'm going to go, I'm sorry, you know what? I'm going to say that for the end. I'm going to go to mystical. I love the mystical tool here. It's going to give it like that dreamy glow. I'll go to an extreme. So look at what it's doing here. I love how it's just enriching the colors. And it's usually best to zoom in to maybe 100%, just so you can see what it's doing. Look what it's doing to it, right? It's giving you a little bit of that blur. I can bump up the shadows. I can brighten them up. Experiment. Colorize. I can desaturate, warm it. That's entirely up to you. But again, look at this. It just gave me that little extra. Now that I have that, I do want to go to the mood tool. Zoom out. The mood tool is your LUTs. They're called lookup tables. Well, I'm going to use some of the pre-built ones, and I'm going to go into cinematic toning. Let's go to creative, and there's different ones. Just notice that when I hover over this, that's pretty cool too. You have different ones you can select. I'm going to go with sepia. Now I like where it is right now, but if I wanted a little bit more, notice I can go to an extreme. So don't just accept what it's there. Like that's, in my opinion, is true sepia, but I just want a hint of it. So that looks good. You bump a little bit of the contrast and dial back the saturation. Right about here. Look at that. Ready? Before and after. All right. So we went from this to this in such a short time. So I did show you how to explore some of the specialty tools. All right. Now, just because we added this folder doesn't mean we can't add additional folders. And that's what I did here with the sports one. So I clicked on the plus icon, and then it's going to take me where, on my computer, to where I'm going to my presentation images. And just to show you where I grabbed it from, I do have sports. I clicked on this, selected it, and then it brought it into Luminar for me. So now I have my sports images here. So I did this photo shoot with a bunch of these little wrestlers. Hilarious kids. What I want to show you is how I use my sports grit look. And then this is what we're going to end up completing with it. So this is going to be the final output, and I'll show you how I basically got to it. So let's go back to my sports. And what I did a little bit differently here is I already went ahead of time, and instead of having you go through all of this, I did go in and select a few of my favorites. So I'm going to come down here to the filters, and I'm going to show you just my favorites. All right. So flag. Here we go. Favorites. There we are. And you'll know it's a favorite because look what I just did. You have the heart icon. All right. Now, here's an issue I have. I have darker complexion, lighter complexion. So let's start with this one first. And we'll go to another special tool, Dramatic. This was a tool the team built for me. This is my sports grit look. Watch how fast I can create my grit look. I'm going to dial it back a little bit. And saturation. Oh, look at this. I don't want to go overboard. That to me is overboard. So I want to give it just enough. Let's look at this. Before, after. Oh yeah, it's shaping up. That's great. Now, let's come to the portrait tools. And look at his eyes. All right. I'm going to come in and for my portrait tools, I do want to work on the face. Let's say lighten the face. I'll go to an extreme so you can see it. It's a little bit too much, right about there. Now watch his eyes. When I add the iris flare, or if I come in here with the eye enhancer, there's just not enough contrast. So his eyes are not getting the full effect. Well, I know they're brown. Let's change it back to brown. Ooh, look at that. I like it. And then now if I pop the iris flare, look at that. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see it. Look what it's doing here. And then enhance the eye a little bit better. There we go. We're going to watch this. The dark circle. Now that's too much. So let's dial it just a little bit. I like the character of it. All right. Let's see if it makes a difference. Yep. Before, after, beautiful. Well, look at this image. Before, after. Now let's look at the skin. And with the skin, I'm going to do a little face smoothing. And I'm going to remove some of the shine. All right. Let's see. Before, after. Actually, you're not going to see it until I zoom in. Before, after. Good. So now that I have that set, right? That looks great. But I did something. I gave him brown eyes. And I'm going to show you why you should wait at the end. But let's just go with it. And before I finish, I do want to go back to Essentials. Let's go to Develop. I'll do a global change. I'm going to make everything dark. But then I'm going to come into a local change and take the bottom half and make that darker. Look at this. Now the attention is drawn to him, right? That looks great. Here's where the batch processing comes in. I could come in, which I will, and I'm going to save this as a preset. And this preset is going to be sports, let's say, but we're going to do dark. Sports grit, dark, enter. All right, so now that I have that set, it doesn't matter which catalog I'm in, I'll always have that preset ready to go. But here's the thing. We have that set. Let's apply it to this image. So I can either come over to the presets, and since I did copy it, but I'll show you from this angle. There's presets, there's dark. I'm going to click on it, and it does an okay job, right? Because again, one was darker skin, one was brighter skin. But look at this. Do you remember I told you about the brown eyes? He has blue eyes. So that's why if you're going to do something like that, that's always good to keep at the very end. But we're going to fix it. So ready? Here we are, our good friend, the history tool. I don't want to recreate this because I already have what I want. And I'm going to come back here to the dramatic tool. And here's the part where I'm going to make the lighter skin a little bit darker here. And the saturation, not as much. Ooh, that looks good. Oh, yeah, I like that. Now let's go back to the face. And the eyes, we know he has blue eyes. And let's dial up way back. And in this case, honestly, you should just leave it to the original. And the reason why I'm leaving for original is so when I apply it to all the other images, it doesn't give them the brown eyes or the blue eyes. It gives them their original eyes. That's when you're dealing with presets. So now that I have that set, right, that looks really good. And let's come up here to the skin. That looks good. And then, of course, the develop. So now that we created this, I'm going to right click and adjustments. Let me just copy that. But I also want to save it. So I'm going to save the preset. And notice I didn't have to recreate it. I just copied what I had before. So sports grit. And let's call this lighter. There we go. So now we have darker skin, lighter skin. There it is. Now what do we do with it? Well, I'm going to select all these images. However, I'm going to use my control key, and I'm going to take all the dark complexion. So I know I don't want them on any of these or here. Now that I don't want them from there, right click. And because I copied it, adjustment, paste, or I can come back in with the preset, apply it to one image, and then apply it to the rest of them. Right? Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to apply it because it'll take a while for it to process. Now I'm going to deselect, Control or Command D. Now I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to select, using the Control key, the darker complexion, and I'll do the same thing. From here, that preset or adjustment, and then paste, and I would paste the darker complexion on those. All right, Now that we have all that set, so I showed you how we batch process. Well, what do we do with these? How do I get these so the kids can actually see them? So I'm going to come over here to recently edited, and we'll just use these two right here. Right? So those are the ones that we just did. Now I have two choices. All right? I can export these right from here, either export or come over here, click export. Let's just do this one. Export, new export. Where do I want to export them? I want to put them back in the folder that they came from and browse, but I want to call it complete. So here it is. I created an underscore complete. If you don't have it, just right click and then you just create a new folder, complete. Now let me make sure I'm in the right folder for you. Yep, there it is. So now I'm in complete. Select, and here's your export settings. I'm going to keep the original size. I like Adobe RGB. 300 is fine with me. And then I like quality 100. Some say you can move it down. I just like leaving it. If I'm going to print, I want it to be at 100%. Now I'm going to export it. And I believe since I already exported one of them, it may come back and tell me, hey, you want to overwrite this one or keep a copy of it? We'll see what it does. But it's going to put it into that underscore complete folder. Well, that underscore complete folder is inside Luminar. So you know what that means? We're going to be able to see it in a moment. It'll come up in here, and I'll be able to see those same images in here. So let's get to it. All right. It's going to give it, see how it's working. So it did have to export it. It's using all the tools that we just applied to it. It's burning it into a JPEG because that's what we chose, and then it's going to put it in the folder. All right, so let's give it a moment. If it doesn't do it right away, that's fine. In fact, you know what? I don't want to take a little more time, but you saw where I exported it. Just be on the safe side. Recently edited. Export. Actually, yep. Export. And new export. Yep. Original. Everything is all set. Browse. Let me make sure I have it in the right folder. Oh, you know what? I didn't put it in the right folder. So I'm glad we checked it. Look, an Luminar sample. Nope. It should be under presentation. That's why I didn't do it. So, underscore my presentation folder. D drive presentation, sports, and then complete. So I had it in the wrong folder. So I'm glad we checked it. And export. And then it's going to put it into that folder. Once it does that, I should have done the same thing for the second one. But you get the idea of how we're exporting it. Look, and it did say, hey, look, there's already one in there. I'm going to replace it. And then I'll do this. I would do the same thing to this one. And then under the complete folder, there it is now. Now I have it in there. So I showed you how to export it to the computer. Then if you were printing it to a lab, you could send those JPEGs off to the lab. They print them. Or if you're printing at home on your computer, on your printer, you could send them to your printer. Entirely up to you. You can put them on Facebook, wherever you want it to go. Here's another way of doing this, which the kids absolutely loved when I put them into a photo gallery. Now, in the past, I did use my SlickPick account, or I think it was SmugMug, or one of those where the kids can go to it and download them. Skylum built it into our system now. So I'm going to select both of these. Right-click and publish to spaces. Well, I'm going to make a new space. And let's just call this sports. And I would give it the name. I would actually give it the name of the group. I think this was North Brevard Wrestling Organization or something. But now that I have it there, I'm going to send this link right here. Look, I can either open it up on the web, and here it comes. Well, now I can share it. I'll copy the link. I can send it to the team leader, or usually the team mom, and she can give it to all the kids. What I can also do is come down here and I can edit these images. I can come in and let's say I want this to be the first one. I can also come in and say, you know what, that's not the image I want. I can delete the folder. I can add to the image, whatever it is. They're going to see it in real time. They're going to be able to download these images here. Let me get to it, rid of it. So if I were them, they can come in here, get rid of that. There we go. And let me just refresh it. There we go. I can click on the image and I can download it. And now they have it on their computer or their device. It also works on their mobile phone. I could also come in and let's see, I thought at one point, let's see if I have it here. Nope, I don't. Maybe I do. Yep, right here. So I have the ability to stop the downloads, show the metadata, or I can copy the links. All right. And so if I have these images already set, you know, like I said, I can do extra editing, not editing, extra organization on that web itself. So think of that as your own little portfolio or delivery. I wouldn't keep a whole bunch of these there because after a while, it's going to get full and you're not going to remember which ones is which. So a good friend of mine, Dale, said he likes to put up in here, expires, let's just give it a date, you know, October 30th. October 30th. There we go. So that's my birthday. So October 30th, boom. And now they understand that they need to download those by October 30th. Otherwise, you're going to be gone. All right. So let's just do a quick review again. And all right, here we go. So what we did, I taught you how to add a folder catalog. Start with the Enhance AI. Add a second instance. Then we used the history, masking. We moved on to the development tool. From there, explore some of the specialty tools, batch processing, export to the computer, and then we published the spaces. So there we have it. Up and running with Luminar. So people, let's say like my sister, she just wants to take good photos, snaps them, a little bit of editing. She would stick with the Enhance AI. My cousin Marianne, she's a photo advocate, turned into a phenomenal photographer. She's going to take it much further. She's going to explore all the tools that we had. And then there's others. Richie Acevedo, a good friend of mine, who's a wedding photographer. He would use publish the spaces, and then he would be able to give those to his clients, you know, or different shoots, and let them see the images before he sends them off to print. So you have your options. If you're brand new to it, you stick with the essential tools. That's where the photographer lives. That's your digital darkroom. You're into it for a while, like a lot of the people here at Coffee Break. They decide, you know what, I love it, but I want to take it to another level. They go on to all the creative tools. Now, one thing I do want to point out, please remember, nothing replaces good photography. Get the image right in camera. Use Luminar Neo or Luminar to enhance it, to make it better. Programs like Photoshop are meant to repair images that you really messed up. Programs like Luminar are designed to enhance it, to make it sharper, to complete your vision. But remember, it begins in camera. Once you have it in your camera, use the tool to further it. All right? Well, I hope that helped. Now, for those that are here, please stick around for the Ask Me Anything segment. For everyone else, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.